everyone, Teeny here. I hope your Sunday is off to a great start. Today I'm going to share with you some note cards. We're going to create 7 note cards. We're using the Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar. And note cards, what I mean by note card is I created some small little card bases that will fit inside these cute little envelopes. So 5 3/8 by 3 3/4 inches tall. Okay, and then I just scored it down the middle, and then we have our little note card. So I made 7 of these for today's cards, and I already opened up all of my windows, okay, because we're going to mix and match elements. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do today. So this is the spoiler. If you guys haven't opened day 1 through day 7. Day 1 is this one here, and this is the cutest little doggy ever. I have a magnetic sheet that we're going to go ahead and put this on, just so we can stay a little organized. Okay, so actually let me bring in some Post-it tape. Okay, I'm going to bring in some Post-it tape, and I'm going to label this one as number 1. Next we're going to open up door number 2, which again I already did. This is a stamp set, and it's a cute little mushroom stamp set. Day number 3. This was actually really fun. It's like little presents in each one of these. Day 3 is a cute little bunny inside of a top hat, a little magic show kind of a theme. Now over here we're going to go to day 4. Scoot this over. Day 4 is a wood handle stamp is what I'm thinking this is. Okay, so I marked this day 4. And I think I need another magnet. And day 5, we gotta have our florals, and this is what we have in day 5. Beautiful. There's a larger flower, a flower bed, and then a single flower. And I already opened this one up. This one is a really fun circle embossing folder. So that is... So far we have 4 dies, a stamp set, and an embossing folder. And then finally for day 7 is this one here. We have a stencil. So we have a buffet of, this is really cute. Okay. And then this is, oh, I didn't realize this. There are 4, you get 3 stencils. Look at this, for day 7. 2 butterflies, and then 2 half butterflies. I thought it was a layering stencil, but that's really nice. So 3 stencils, how fun is this? Okay, so day 1 through day 7, we have opened, and looks like we have a buffet of fun crafty supplies. So let's go ahead and jump in with our first card. Now for all 7 of my note cards today, I thought we would use a die set. The one that I'm using is from Spellbinders. It's been around for a while. In fact, I don't even know if they still have it or not. But it is a postage edge circle. So I thought we would use this on all 24. Well, not all 24, but we'll use this during our note card process for 24 windows. And then I thought we'd bring in this stamp set. I was going to bring in a background stamp for all of my cards from Hero Arts, but I changed my mind and I thought this would work out great. This is the Speech Bubble Sentiments. It has grid lines, polka dots, and it has like a paper edge image that I think would fit on my note card. So I thought we would use this. And then there's a thought bubble, and then there's some little sentiments that you can add to this, because some of our windows don't have greetings in it. For example, the embossing folder doesn't have a greeting, so I could use one of the greetings in here. Okay, so we're going to be using these 2 on all 24 of our windows, and I'll link them down below for you. Okay, I thought I got everything die cut out, but I do need to die cut out the little piece or the little tongue for the little doggy. And you know, I'm just going to bring in my Scout. Let's go ahead and do this. Can you hear the band? We don't live that far from the high school, and they're out there at the football field, and the band is doing Christmas music. Jingle bell rock. Let me hear. Okay, so just one more piece. Let's add some glue behind here, and we're going to add his ears. So that's that. Let's add our polka dots and our detail layer and his hands. Now our little guy has little spots. Okay, a little white tipped tail, and then we have, let's see, our little puppy's nose. The little circle on the nose needs to be to the right. Okay, that's the good way to gauge where to put it. And then I'm going to add his little tongue that's hanging out of his mouth. Now we're going to add a little glue, and I cut out his collar. When you cut the collar out, the top piece of the nose cuts out too. And I woof you. I'm going to go ahead and put some foam tape behind our dog. And he is good to go. Now we need a home to put our little guy. So I'm going to use my little embossing folder. I have a 1 1/4 inch tall strip of the coral cardstock from Spellbinders. I'm going to emboss this. A thin bead of glue at the top here. And then I have some of my peridot cardstock. We're going to add a little splash of green to the very top of our embossed piece. And then this is going to go on some seaside cardstock. I want a little bit of the blue showing on the bottom. Okay, the seaside cardstock is just slightly smaller than my note card. I'm going to take my speech bubble sentiments, and there's a little heart in here. Let me grab an acrylic block. I kind of arranged my greeting where I want it. And then I'm going to add some hearts here. I'm going to stamp another one. We'll stamp 2 hearts here. Lovely. Now all we have left to do is take this panel and add it to the front of our card base. I'm just going to use some glue. Now I'm going to bring in my glaze and glue, and I'm going to go over those hearts. Add a little dimension to those. And that will finish off our first little note card. Let's make a note card with day 2. Day 2 is our little mushroom. I'm going to use my Memento ink, and we're going to do some coloring with this fun image. Lovely. I'm going to be using some Copic markers, and then I'm going to fussy cut this out. Once we have this colored in, which I skipped the coloring only because we're making 7 note cards today. And what we're going to do is take 2 panels that kind of coordinate with the colors. I have some green and teal leaves in here, so and then red mushrooms. So I have a piece of red cardstock and teal, and these are smaller than my note card, and we're going to crisscross them like so. I love doing this on note cards. It just adds a pop of color that you need. Okay, in our stamp set there's a greeting, and I'm going to stamp the greeting that says thank you so much. I'm going to stamp this right up here at the top of my note card on the blue cardstock. Okay, and then I did pop up my image. Now I'm going to go back in with my glaze and glue, and I'm going to go over the mushroom. The Spellbinders Crystal Mix has 2 different colors. You have an iridescent, and then you have like a milky, kind of a cloudy gem. For this one, I think I'm going to use like the cloudy gem. And we're going to add a few gems in our background to kind of fill in some of this area. As I'm looking at this, I'm also going to use my glaze and glue and go over the flower centers. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move along to door number 3. Door number 3 is the cute little rabbit in a hat. We created our little magic wand, and I figured we could add a little sparkle to this by adding some silver top and bottom to this wand. So I die cut it out with some silver glitter cardstock. We'll add a little pizzazz. I also did the hat band. We're going to add this. Okay, now for our bunny's eyes and nose, I'm going to use two different Copic markers. Some black circles here and here. And then I'm going to add a pink circle in the middle. I had to pull down the black just a little bit so I can get a pink nose and some black eyes here all at once. Okay. That was quick and easy. Now I'm going to take that same pink marker and we're going to add some pink to the earpieces. I cut them out with white cardstock just because it was easier. Okay. And then we're going to layer those inside of our bunny ears. Kind of brings them to life a little bit. I'm going to add a little glue at the base of our bunny face, and then we can add, let's tilt him. You know I like to tilt. For my note card, I went ahead and used my postage circles, and I cut out one orange one. It's okay if it's cut off because it's going to overhang anyway. And then also a circle that goes on the inside. Let's layer these together. Now I'm bringing in day number 2. And there is a stamp image in here that says, "Hope your day is magical," which goes wonderful with our little rabbit in the hat. I'm going to layer this on my note card so we have even more hanging off. So I'm just going to use my scissors really quickly and trim this away. I'm going to stamp it down here on the bottom with my black ink. Lovely. And then we will glue this on the front of our note card. Let's go ahead and add our magic wand here. And then I have those 3 little stars that we're going to add here in this area. Okay, now we have sparkle. I'm not worried about that, but I do want to bring in a black pen. I'm going to use my black Sharpie. We're going to add some dashed lines or faux stitching around that postage edge. And that will finish that little note card. Okay, that's note card number 3. Let's move along. For window number 4, I did a little die cutting 2 times. I did die cutting all 4 pieces with Dahlia, which is the darker pink, rosy pink, and then I did also with Spellbinders blush cardstock. Okay, well, to put this together, it's very easy. I am going to add a little ink blending using some of my watermelon ink to the edges here. Let's go on. Ooh, that's a lot. Now to put it together, it's very, very simple. Add a little glue at the base. We add this piece right over the top. The more narrow goes on the bottom, and then we'll add glue to the very top. And then we can add this. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my love you. And that's how you put it together. Now, I did 2 because I want this top piece to be flip-flopped. And so what I'm going to do is just use my scissors. And I'm going to snip off the top here, the middle, and then the top. And then I'm going to add a little extra color to the top of my stamp too. You don't have to do this, but this is just what... I'm just going to add a little lighter pink at the very top. Okay, now I also created some little flowers. Actually created 3. Oh, there we go. I created 3 little flowers using days or window 5 flower. I used this flower here, this leaf, and then the flower centers. We're going to actually use the day 6 embossing folder. Okay, I thought we would add a little edge, maybe a 3/4 inch edge here on our note card. I trimmed down a thin piece of green cardstock. We're going to add some glue behind here, and we're going to cover our seam. This is Spellbinders Peridot. And we'll bring in some small foam squares, and we're going to add our flowers. I'm going to bring in my corner rounder, and I'm going to round the top corner. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my glaze and glue and we're going to go over those flower center. Oops. Add a little shine and dimension to the flower centers, and I'm also going to bring in some more of my crystal mix. So that makes a nice little just because card. That's all there is to that one. Okay, we're going to move along to card number 4. For this card, we're going to make a floral, and we're going to be using the large flower in this die set. What I did was I cut out the flower bed and also the flower with white cardstock. We're just going to go ahead and layer these two together. This is a really dainty flower. I'll add a little glue here and we can add our stem right here at the bottom. And that's all there is to the flower. Isn't that so pretty? For the flower bed, we add a little glue and then we can add this little circle. The little stamen area here, I did that with some of my seaside cardstock, and we can add a little blue stamen. We'll just glue those down so we have a little extra color. This is Spellbinders Seaside cardstock, and so now we have 2 little flower beds. I did use one of the dies from window number 4. This is Hello You. Okay, and I die cut this out just so it would stand out against the white. I die cut it out with the fog cardstock. For this card, let me put this away. For this card, we're going to use some cardstock and just create a little square, a colorful square. So I have red, this is poppy, we have waterfall, we have coral, all of these are essential cardstocks. We're going to just layer these together. Whenever I make white flowers, I want a nice colorful background. This little piece that we just created is going to go all the way to the right, and I have some inky fingers. Okay, and then we can go ahead and add our flower. We'll add one here on the red, and didn't take no time at all, but that is note card using window number 5. So cute. Okay, let's move along to window number 6, which is our embossing folder. What I'm going to do is take my note card, I'm going to open it up, okay, and I'm going to emboss twice. So I'm going to emboss this, and then I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to emboss this. But I think it turned out really good. Okay, but of course when you open it up, your writing is going to be a little bit wrinkled. If you don't like that, what you can do is just trim it in half and create a card front panel with this, and then that way the inside of your note card is smooth. Just layer it right on the top like that. Okay, that's an option, but this is a little versatile embossing folder. So much fun. Now I went ahead and used my postage edge, the smallest circle in here, and I cut out 3 circles. What I thought we would do is just layer all 3 of these together. Stamp hello. We'll stamp hello right here at the bottom. Wonderful. I'm going to keep my ink out because in this same stamp set there's some polka dots. I'm going to grab that polka dot piece and we're going to put this on a larger acrylic block. I'm going to give that a second to dry. And over here at the bottom and the top, we're going to add some polka dots. So let's stamp some polka dots here. It's not quite the width, but maybe I should. I think I should mask it off just in case. Let's use our. I don't trust myself, and if I go over, it's not going to be that big of a deal. This Post-it note tape was from Spellbinders, and it's my last roll, but it was from Fun Stamper's Journey. It's just Post-it note tape, low tack tape. But let's ink this up, and I'm going to stamp some polka dots here at the bottom. Okay, now since it's not the width of my panel, I'm going to add a little more over here. So now we have some fun polka dots. A little bit off, but that's okay. I think we can still get away with it. Now we have, I think this is dry, and then I'll pop this up with some foam tape. Now I have some more of those flowers we created with window number 5, okay? What I did was I created flower centers that matched the circles. So this flower circle is pink, like where our greeting is. This flower center, I have 2 leaves on here, and we have a seaside flower center. This flower center, of course, is the coral, and we're just going to add little flowers to the top. So you can still see that embossing folder, but that is all there is to that little note card. Window number 7 is our stencil. And I think we are going to add this. Let's stencil this butterfly with a rounded edge. Let's go ahead and add this to some white cardstock. I'm going to use my leftover Post-it note tape to secure it. So we have cantaloupe, earl, terracotta, and seafoam. So we have 2 oranges, a gray, and a teal. Okay, I'm going to mask off the butterfly body because I don't want any gray on the wings. So we'll just mask this off and add some gray. We're going to take the seafoam and I'm going to go right over the gray and create a circle motion. So we're going to go light to dark. Now we're going to add cantaloupe. If you overlap the orange with the blue, it can create a muddy look. So just go right up to it. And then I'm going to bring in my darker orange, which is terracotta. And we're going to add some darker tips here. That is all there is to that. Let's go ahead and remove these. And look how pretty our butterfly is. Just gorgeous. I'm going to clean off my work surface and then I'm going to fussy cut around the butterfly. And I'll be right back. So here's our butterfly. Now I think our butterfly needs antenna. Okay, so what we're going to do is take some black cardstock. I'm going to use my paper trimmer and we are going to trim down some very, very thin strips. We need I'm going to use my crafty tool here. I'm going to wrap my paper around. Now we're going to curl our paper. Okay, I'm using the end of my embellishment wand here. I just hold it down and wrap it around a few times. Okay, and then so this is what it looks like, and then I can stretch it just a little bit. And then we have some fun antenna for our butterfly. I'm going to use a tape runner because I can reposition it. Let's trim down the bottoms a little bit. Okay, and then we can add the antenna. You can kind of manipulate them to where you want them to go. That's the best thing. Okay, let's take our day 6 embossing folder. This one was going to go straight down the middle of our note card. We're going to add a little bit of texture straight down the middle. Okay, I'm going to bring in our stamp set, and this time we're going to use the grid lines in here. I'm going to bring in an acrylic block, and we are going to stamp some grid lines on the left and right of this. And they didn't line up perfectly, but our butterfly is big enough to where we can get away with that. Look, it's going to cover that beautifully. I'm just going to, let's angle it. Now in our stamp set we have I love you. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. I'm going to use, since we have our memento out, we'll use this. I'm just going to stamp it on some white cardstock. There we go. So there's our greeting. What we're going to do next is create some banners out of here. We are just going to create one little banner here, another one here. This one is a little over 1/2 of an inch, and then this one is 1/2 of an inch. Okay, and we're going to layer these like so. Let's layer these together. We'll tack that down, and I'm overhanging a little bit, so we're going to trim this off. There we go. So we have some banners pulling up that color. And then we just need to add a little bit of sparkle using some of our gems. Now I'm almost done. I am going to bring in my diamond stickles. I love diamond stickles when you go over black ink. It just adds that iridescentness to it, and it really coordinates nicely with the gems. And I'm also going to go over the butterfly body with my diamond stickles. It does kind of soften it too. And that will finish off day number 7 with our cute little butterfly. So many fun elements in the Advent calendar. Let's take a look at all of our projects today. Okay, now so we have all 7. We have the cute little dog. We have our mushroom stamp. We have our cute little bunny magic show. We have day 4 is our little stamp. Day 5 is our floral. Day 6 is our embossing folder. Day 7 is our fun stencil. Now, if you're not into the little note cards, this is something that's really easy to turn into an A2 size card for all of these. You see how easy this would be to create an A2 size card? Just add it to the middle of an A2 size card. This one also. All of these would go great in the middle of an A2 size card. Even our little butterfly, look at. So turning these into an A2 size card would be so easy. And I think they would look just as fabulous. So I lightly tacked down my note cards and they're all popping up because you can see they're popping up. But okay, for my next video with a Crafty Advent Calendar, we're going to create 8 cards. We're going to do that on December 15th. Mark your calendar. And we're going to do 8 of the next 8 days. I'm not doing it on Sunday. It'll be Monday. Sunday is the Simon Says Stamp card kit unboxing and reveal. So that's the day that I usually do that, is on the 14th of the month. So 15th will be our next Advent calendar with 8 note cards. I look forward to opening those boxes, and I hope you enjoyed these little note card projects. Thanks so much for joining. It's a little bit longer video, but got lots of projects. So thanks so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.